side. Hello and welcome to Ask on episode 254. On this episode, we're talking new Lord of the Rings, new Lego Star Wars, Clone Troopers, a MOX Series, and more. If you have a question you want to answer on next week's episode, make sure you leave it down in the comments section below and leave a like while you're there. Also, I do apologize if there's any background noise. There's not a whole lot I can do. First question from Sir Cag says, when will you continue with Hobbit and Lord of the Rings set reviews, and what do you think of the new Rivendell set? So as far as making more reviews go, I plan to do the Tower of Orthanc within the month of February. Anything else, I really got nothing for you, but when I'm in the new studio, that's something that I'll definitely explore doing more of. I'm a little bit more leaning towards doing Indiana Jones reviews sooner rather than later because I finally watched the first movie. It was excellent, and it's kind of got me in that mood, so I'll probably do some Indiana Jones reviews this month too, but expect both within the month. As far as Rivendell goes, it got officially revealed. It's $500, 6,167 pieces, I think, and the set looks insane. With 15 minifigures, we've got a awesome selection of characters that I could only have dreamed of a couple of years ago, I suppose, but now we have just a great looking cast and crew from Lord of the Rings here. Again, I think all of these figures look fantastic, and I don't quite have that eye for detail that I would have with Lego Star Wars, so maybe there are some errors in these figures that I'm not gonna see, but like the Hobbits without like shoes is awesome. I don't think they had that in some of the original sets back in 2013 or so. So seeing stuff like that now in these more modern sets is amazing. We also have really cool things like the way that they have different leg attachments for some of the characters to sit. Like Elrond sitting at his seat doesn't have the big piece that he has for his normal legs, and same goes for some of the hobbits. They actually have different pieces that allow them to sit instead of standing with those short legs. It's an amazing attention to detail that they've done with a lot of these characters, and the way that they interact with the environment, which I think is really important for a set that is of course intended to display like this. The overall structure seems phenomenal as well, with beautiful trees and foliage all throughout and landscaping. I love the little bridge that they're able to walk across. I mean, there's just so much to love about this set. Can't wait to review it. And then we also have the 1x1 tiles on the roof, and this may be the most tedious part of any Lego build ever because they don't just line up on their own. You actually are going to have to go through and make sure they all line up and are perfectly facing the exact same way. So that's going to be a bit of a pain as far as the build goes, but everything else about this set I am in love with, and I think for 500 bucks it's fairly priced, unlike some other big Lego sets recently. Broxy wants to know what set I would like to see most this summer for the Clone Wars anniversary. I think given that it's the 20th anniversary and that they're harkening back to the original 2003 Clone Wars, I gotta see a Munilus 10 gunship with a Dirge minifigure implemented somewhere in there. I mean, we're talking 20 years of Clone Wars and you want to encapsulate that in one set, you make a Munilus 10 gunship. That's where my hopes and dreams are. I am ready for them to be shattered. There's no way that they are ever going to make a Munilus 10 gunship, but a boy can dream. It's just not going to happen. But yeah, the more realistic flip side of that though is a UCS Venator. I think that there's a real good potential for a $400 to $600 UCS Venator. I don't think that they should go more expensive than that range. I would much prefer like $500 for a UCS Venator. It doesn't need to be as big as the Star Destroyer, so it's kind of where I'm looking for what I would like to see the most this summer for Clone Wars sets. And I'm sure a lot of you guys are in the same boat, and a lot of people want like battle packs and stuff, but battle packs probably aren't happening. We're going to see some minifig packs, but we'll see if those even include Clone Wars figures, you know. I asked someone that's pretty in the know about what might be coming for Lego Star Wars in summer 2023, and the best thing I can relay to you guys and what they said is that there are some pretty good sets, and there are some sets that have lots of potential for a rant video, winky face, crying, laughing, emoji face. So, you know, always good to hear that there's good sets, and I suppose equally good to hear that there's sets that I can make more videos on, because that never hurts, I guess. But yeah, I mean, obviously I just want it all to be good, but that's, you know, from the source that I have right now, so we'll see what pans out as far as that's concerned. Ian McCreevy says, what are your thoughts on the clones for the Castaway game? They have Fox and Wolf. Do you think they would make them in sets? Yeah, there's always a chance Lego will make Clone Trooper minifigures in sets. Any given Clone Trooper can happen at any time. It's like any football team winning on any given Sunday, with the Super Bowl coming up, of course. These particular Clone Troopers appearing in this particular image means absolutely nothing for them to either come in a set or not come in a set, though. Like, this is completely irrelevant to whether or not they'll actually release them, if that makes sense. But I must say the Commander Fox minifigure does look phenomenal. I really hope that Phase 2 Fox is something that they're actually considering, because that would be an amazing minifigure to get. The Phase 2 Rex still looks pretty good, just like it does in the game. It actually looks better than the video game version of Phase 2 Rex because they have the antenna attached at the proper point, and it doesn't have the stupid double holes that jut out above there. So we actually have a decent looking Phase 2 Rex, although he's still missing a physical waist cape piece, which is just what they need to be doing at the end of the day. I do not understand why we're not getting physical waist cape pieces. And then the Wolf is another really good looking minifigure, but again, missing that physical waist cape piece. But he, like Rex, has that proper attachment point for the rangefinder and doesn't have the stupid double holes. Now, to tie this into the question from last week, I got a few replies in the comments saying that, Ryan, LEGO did release a Flame Trooper, because I mentioned that Flame Trooper showed up in a LEGO Star Wars game back in like 2017 or 18, because I mentioned that a Flame Trooper was in the LEGO Star Wars Microfighters game back in like 2019, and I said, well, that minifigure never came out. It's been 4 years, although it would have been amazing. And like multiple people commented saying, well, the Flame Trooper did come out, Ryan. It was the First Order Flame Trooper. And I guess my editor didn't put in a picture of what I was talking about, so I'll make sure it happens this time. This is the Flame Trooper I was talking about. It was a clone Flame Trooper, and it looked dang good from Geonosis. Yeah, that one obviously never released and very likely never will release, but definitely something I would have liked to see. Clan MCC says, do you feel that the custom clone market has any effect towards the official LEGO figure market? I think if there's any effect at all, it has to drive prices down because it reduces demand for the official LEGO minifigures. But on the flip side, I could see it in a way increasing demand just by its existence. It maybe draws more people in to be interested in Clone Troopers in general or LEGO Star Wars minifigures in general, and then they see that and they buy that and they're like, oh, I want the official LEGO one too, and then they want to buy that, and it drives the price up. So honestly, it could go either way, and I couldn't possibly know which, but ultimately I would guess that it drives prices slightly down, but ultimately probably not too much of an effect because people are going to want the one they want either way. Fishy Carp Film says, what downsized sets like the 2021 TIE Fighter and X-Wing do you think LEGO should make? So just to be clear here with like our parameters, we're not necessarily looking for MIDI scale sets like Star Destroyer playset to MIDI scale Star Destroyer. We're looking to retain generally the same play features, but at a smaller size. And I think there's some pretty obvious candidates that I think LEGO would like to make at a downscaled version because they would sell like hotcakes. These have to include classics, much like the TIE Fighter and X-Wing, like the Millennium Falcon. I mean, could you imagine if they could make a $99 Millennium Falcon? They're kind of stuck in this $160, $170 range now just due to the pieces that they use, but if they could downscale that to $100, the thing would sell insanely well. And the same could be said for the AT-AT. I think that's another one that I'd love to see them bring back under the $100 price tag, at least for the general consumer. As far as like details and functions that I would want in a set, I probably wouldn't necessarily want to see a $100 AT-AT, but seeing a downscaled version of that available to everyone could be an interesting move for LEGO. The Imperial Star Destroyer has got to be another one on the list, though. Obviously, the MIDI scale would be way too small, but again, it's those $160 sets. If LEGO could rein them back in and bring them under the $100 price point to $99.99, you could have a really interesting offering for a lot of younger LEGO Star Wars fans. I mean, obviously, when I was young, sets like the AT-AT, the Millennium Falcon, and the Star Destroyer were all $99.99, ironically. So seeing them do that again, obviously, they'd have to downscale them massively because of inflation and the increased costs that they have and the fact that they probably just want more profit nowadays. Like, they would be much smaller than they were when they were $100 in 2004, 5, 6, but it would be really interesting to see. Deck Does Stuff says, do you ever plan on revisiting the monthly MOX series? By the way, you make great content. Well, thank you, Deck. And I could definitely see me doing more like reaction style content like that when I move into the studio space. That'll be something that'll be a lot easier for me to do. Possibly where I even have someone else compile MOX for me, and then I kind of react to seeing them for the first time, like 10 best MOX of February 2023, and then, you know, my editor brings them into me, and I'm like, these are great, and I talk about what I like about them. And so, yeah, definitely something that could be revisited with the new studio space, and if it's something you want to see, I definitely would be open to it. I'm going to be starting a MOX series here soon. When I move, I'm setting up a MOX room. I'm getting a giant table. I'm thinking 4 feet by 8 feet, so it can fit 3 gray base plates by 6 gray base plates. Should be pretty big. And my first MOC, kind of gonna like soft announce it here, obviously gonna be Hoth. Third or fourth time's the charm. I don't know how many times I've had to crack it building Hoth and Lego, but I have amassed a lot of white parts, so to me it just makes sense that the least expensive thing I could do at this point, which is kind of what I need to do because we're bought a house and, you know, buying equipment for studio, we're gonna be running low on funds. to do the least expensive build I can, essentially. The thing that I have the most of already is white pieces, so it makes sense for me to just make use of those. That's happening, and I just cannot wait, because it's going to be fantastic, I think. Matthew Wilson says, are you still planning on reviewing all the Indiana Jones sets with the movie coming out soon? So yeah, I touched on this a little bit earlier, but absolutely, man, I cannot wait to get into those sets. Now that I watched that first movie, Raiders of the Lost Ark, it was fantastic, and now I want to watch the others, and I want to build all the sets, and I want to do all the reviews. Like, I had floated out the idea on my, like, big announcement live stream about getting the office space with the Orlando Brickco store, that I was potentially thinking of having someone else come onto the channel and review, like, Indiana Jones sets on my channel, because it wasn't my area of expertise, and I just had this feeling about it, like, I didn't think I would do it very well. But after watching the first movie, man, gotta tell you, I want to do it all myself, whether or not I actually physically build all the sets myself, given how much time that might take. Like, I might not build them all, but I'm definitely gonna be, like, doing the review in the video, because, like, now that I can see what I saw and I can, like, attach that to the sets, like, I'm way more into it. Vet Lord wants to know if I'm gonna have a studio for my channels in the new house. So I'll give you guys a rundown of how everything's going to work with my new spaces, because I don't think I've, like, said it all at once. So the Orlando Brickco store, a subsidy of Atlanta Brickco, they're opening a store in Orlando. They're giving me office space there. So at that store, I am going to have a studio. In that studio, I'll probably make most of my reviews. It'll have my big review table and a background and all of that jazz. Behind that, there'll be another room, and in that room, I'll do all of my Whatnot live streams and shipments, whether that's me shipping them, or more ideally, I'll have people hired that will be running a lot of stuff like that for me, so I'll be having the shipments done there. And then I'll also have an editing setup in that room for my editor to work on, you know, editing videos throughout the day of whatever it's going to be, whether that be shorts content or YouTube content. Like, I'll be pumping out a lot more stuff come March, April, May once all of that solidifies. But the editing bay, the shipment area for MandR shop and whatnot, and then the studio for, like, review videos will all be in-house at the Orlando Brickco. And then at my house, there'll be the big MOX setup with the big table. I'll have some desks in there for me to be able to edit and build Lego sets on at home, and do, like, Twitch live streams of Lego builds from there, as well as, like, big, you know, parts storage area in that room for my builds, and then probably some display with some glass cases in that room. I'll probably film MandRs in a bunch of different locations this year, and it'll be a bit more revolving than it usually is. And then in the garage, I'm going to park my car, and then also have, like, some big storage things for Lego, much like I have in my current storage unit. I'm going to try to get rid of my storage unit, because they just increased the price again. It's like $320 a month now, which, like, I don't want to be paying that. So if I can get all of that into my garage and it makes sense and it fits and it's not overbearing to me, I'm gonna do that. Hopefully that's a good explanation of what's gonna be happening, and of course I'll do tour videos when the time comes and I have everything set up, but that'll probably not be until May or June, because it's just gonna take time to set it all up, get in the right glass cases that I want to get. Like, I'll take suggestions down below. Whiskey Tango Brick says, what was the most stressful part of the house buying process? Honestly, like, when it got down to it, like, signing all the papers was fine, getting the home insurance was fine, and there's still other things I think I'm supposed to do, but I honestly don't know what, so I'll figure that out. But honestly, it's like all the different times that I would go to put in an offer on a house, and, like, just knowing that a lot of it's out of my control is pretty stressful, as far as, like, how many other people are going to come in and put in offers, how much more money a lot of other people have. Like, I had houses where I would put in a full price offer over the past couple years, and someone would come in and offer, like, $200,000 over asking price. That was just never going to happen. I could never afford to do that. So there was a lot of helplessness, I suppose, in a lot of situations. I mean, there was a time where I offered full price, and then the seller came back and wanted more money. There were no other offers. There was no one else competing to buy the house. I offered the full price, and then they wanted $15,000 more. So that seller was a little out of their mind, but it worked out. I ended up with a beautiful place, and I'm really happy. I think I'm the happiest of all the places that I put in offers in. Almost all the places I looked at, this is the one I'm the happiest with, especially given the opportunity that popped up with Atlanta Brickco, Orlando Brickco, and the location of it. Like, I'm in the spot I need to be at the end of the day, so it's worked out. Ben says, what set are you most excited to build when you move to your house after putting off building certain sets for almost 3 years? I think the one that I was really excited for, and now, like, as it's coming and I know I'm gonna be moving, I'm not like as excited about, but the UCS Millennium Falcon from 2007. And the reason I'm not as excited about it is I don't know where I'm going to put it. I don't have a display set up for it yet, so that's why I'm a little bit nervous about building it. So I'm probably going to wait until I know exactly how I want to display it. And the answer is probably not a coffee table in the living room. I don't think I want to do that, so I don't know. But that one I'm probably still the most excited to build because it's the one that I bought like 2 or 3 years ago for $1,300 sealed in the box, and I'm like, I will not build this until I move. And now that time is happening, so it's pretty hype. But there's a lot of Clone Wars sets I have, like the 2009 Venator sealed in box that I can't wait to do a review on. I'm not sure when, but all the Pirates of the Caribbean sets, that's probably like a 2024 or 2025 thing. Whenever they make a new movie, probably. I'll just wait and wait. I'm in no rush to review those. If I'm only picking one set, though, that 2007 UCS Falcon, man, that's always been like the holy grail to me as a child, 10, 11 years old. I always wanted it. I like was trying to figure out how much like chores I would have to do. Finally, Fritz says, what do you think of all the leaks and preliminary designs that surfaced in the past week or so? For example, Jabba's Sail Barge, Lego Zelda, X-Men Mansion, etc. So I touched on these a little bit last week, I think, or in the Jabba Sail Barge video probably, but I'll go through them one by one and tell you what I think of each. You'll have to look up the pictures for yourself. I'll have my editor put up similar looking pictures, but these aren't obviously the official leaked images from the other day. So we have the Batman Gotham art set, and I thought when Gotham City was like the rumor or whatever, like it would actually be a build, but it's like an art 3D style thing, and it's really weird, but it's kind of grown on me the more that I've looked at it. I would honestly probably buy it and make a video about it if it came out, and it probably will be coming out, so I'm looking forward to that one. It's like $300 though probably, so it's going to be expensive. We have the Simba buildable character, which would probably end up being the best seller out of all of these. Like, he's just so dang cute, and I honestly wouldn't buy it. I don't really care that much about it, but I recognize a good Lego set when I see one. We have a big Master Builder Series style burrow from Harry Potter, and this one does look really good, although I'm gonna be honest, I feel it's completely unnecessary to release a set like this for $200 or $300. I think there's a lot of better Harry Potter stuff they could do, but it's not a bad set. I wouldn't not buy it. I just don't really want it, you know? But yeah, it's good. Like, I'm sure the Harry Potter fans would love it. We have the Zelda set, which to me looks like a UCS version of Winnie the Pooh's set. I don't really know much about Zelda. Of course, the Jabba's Sail Barge, I did a whole video talking about. Snow White and the Seven Dwarves, honestly, would maybe give Simba a run for its money. I only say not quite as much because Simba is just a smaller, cheaper set, but this thing looks phenomenal. I think the build on this is amazing, and I think there's like a Lego Ideas build that looks pretty similar, obviously, because they're based on the same thing, so you kind of get a good idea of what it looks like. It looks amazing. We then have the one with the dragon, and I honestly, Ursula maybe? I can't remember what it is. I'm not the biggest Disney expert, but this one looks pretty cool. It's got one of those quote bricks on the front, like the Lego Star Wars sets, so that would probably be a pretty good seller as a display set. The Donald Duck is weird. I would rather them just not even release this, but it's somewhat in the style of the Minnie and Mickey sets that we got a while back, except it's just worse probably in every way. The Harry Potter sorting hat is a big pass for me. It's pretty ugly looking. Obviously, these are preliminary images, but it's not a good looking sorting hat, and it's one that I'd rather them not release. We have the Eye of Sauron from Lord of the Rings, obviously. Would be amazing to see them go and release. We have a remake of one of those classic Lego castle or medieval sets, and this looks crazy good. I know a lot of people had been wanting this. I think it's the Medieval Market, and I would buy this. I didn't buy the castle, but I would buy this. It's incredible. I would buy it, and I'd do a comparison with the original. Maybe, you know, I'd do something with this. And it is supposedly, if it does release, it would include that goat, which is like $100 thing. If you guys didn't know, the Lego goat is like a really rare piece, and so among like AFOLs at Lego conventions, a lot of people talk about the goat all the time. The Lego goat, just super expensive, and it could possibly release in this set, which would drive that price down quite a bit. The X-Men Mansion, I'm not super familiar with X-Men. The last time I really cared about X-Men was when I was in the first grade and I bought something at the book fair about X-Men. Ever since then, I haven't thought about it, but this does look like a really good X-Men set, and it would draw in a lot of X-Men fans into the Lego fandom, and that seems to be Lego's approach at this point with some of these sets, is like shotgun approach and trying to just throw out different Lego themes and bring people in, you know, that wouldn't otherwise buy a Lego set, but because it's their favorite thing, they'll go and buy it. But shout out to Brick Clicker for all the images from there. If you want to find those images, they're on his videos. So yeah, I totally expect all of those sets to release at some point in 2023 or 2024. I know a lot of people said that, oh, these sets might not release and this and that, but I feel like all of these sets will release. I would be pretty surprised if all of these like completed models didn't end up getting released. That's not to say they don't have sets that they finish and they cancel later on, but you know, I feel like these are just sets that are good to go, so they might be coming out sooner rather than later, like we saw with Rivendell. Like, Rivendell was one of the leaked images amongst these leaked images, and it's already been released. So we can expect some of these to come out sooner rather than later, and some of them later rather than sooner, you know. But that is going to do it for this episode of Ask MandR. If you guys did enjoy, hit the like button. If you have a question for next week's episode, leave it down in the comments section below, and I'll see y'all in the next one when I'm back at home. Also, Commander Cody and Captain Rex helmets reviews coming this weekend when I'm at home. So, bye.